Oh, hello. My name is Professor Teniz, and welcome to the wonderful world of Pokemon movies. You might have seen some of these growing up since there are 25 of them. There's a lot. Ash, Pikachu, and the rest of the Pokemon gang go on amazing adventures where they make new friends, battle legendaries, and... honestly, why am I even telling you when I could just show you? I'm very nostalgic when it comes to a lot of these films. I used to sit in front of the TV in awe, mesmerized by the world, the story, the characters. Pokemon, the franchise, has always had a special place in my heart. But I'm 23 now, and I've slowly started to realize as I've grown up, all those passions and things that I used to adore as a little kid, I don't really think the same about some of this stuff anymore. And if I don't be careful and try to rekindle that flame, it might burn out. You see, I wanted to make this video not only because the world of Pokemon movies is just so crazy, but I also wanted to see if I could take a step back in life and see if I could reignite that passion I once had for this franchise. So, here's how we're gonna do this thing. So, obviously, 25 films is a lot to go over, and to talk about each one of these films extensively, this video would be like 20 hours long, and we don't want that. I don't want that. So, I've come up with this 3-step game plan to make this video as interesting as possible. Hopefully, this works. I don't know. You let me know. Step number 1. Each film is gonna have a dedicated section in this video that's roughly gonna be about 2 to 3 minutes long, maybe longer. Who knows? I haven't recorded that part in the video yet. Each section is gonna have a brief summary of the film, so viewers at home who haven't seen these movies can easily follow along and understand the general gist of what happens in these films. And then also, I wanna talk about notable moments, stuff that just really stuck out to me about these films. Some of these will contain spoilers. And then also for each film, we're gonna give it a score on a 5-star rating scale. All of this is pretty simple so far, right? Are you following along? Then we move on over to step 2, where I've taken all 25 of the films and grouped them up into 5 groups of 5. For the video, we're gonna be watching and talking about these films in batches of 5, and then we're gonna talk about the overall strengths and weaknesses of this general era. And then we're gonna take the average score for our 5 films to figure out our overall score. For example, this one is 3 stars. That allows us to move on to step 3, where we're gonna be comparing each one of the 5 eras' scores to determine which era of the Pokemon films is the best and which one is the worst. We're doing this so we could answer a couple of questions. Did the movies peak at the start? Did they get worse as they go? Did they get better as they go? Were any of these films actually good? Was this even worth it? With that all being said, I think it's time we start watching some movies. So ladies and gentlemen, it is time we watch them all. Let's do this thing. We dreamed of creating the world's strongest Pokemon, and we succeeded. Pokemon, the first movie, is iconic. Our story opens up with a bunch of researchers looking for the ancient fossil containing the DNA of the legendary Pokemon Mew. Hired by the leader of Team Rocket, these researchers are tasked with the job of cloning Mew and making some kind of Mewtwo. Oh, I get it! They succeed. This 90-minute film honestly sets the bar so high for all the films to follow. The story of Mewtwo gaining consciousness for the first time and asking questions like, who am I? Why was I created? What is my purpose? It's honestly something I didn't expect to come out of a Pokemon film, but oh my god, it is so freaking cool. Also, side note, I watched the Sonic 3 movie a couple months back, and Shadow the Hedgehog, your story seems oddly similar to Mewtwo. What's going on with that? Mewtwo becomes disgusted with humanity and turns on them, taking over this palace and then inviting the strongest Pokemon trainers in the world to come there.
She's really small, but really pretty.
So he can steal their Pokemon and then clone their Pokemon and then destroy the world and live out the rest of the day with these cloned Pokemon. Mewtwo, I know you're a really smart guy and everything, but what the fuck is this plan? This movie has a lot of heart, and the opening 20 minutes of this film is actually pure perfection in my eyes. We get these amazing scenes of Mewtwo as this like little baby version of himself in this mental state where he's talking to other clone versions of Pokemon, and he experiences the beauties of life. And then these people die, and Mewtwo's like, what? And then they erase his memory so that he doesn't really remember these people and why life was so special. And so he just wakes up really pissed off. This stuff was really cool. It set the bar really high. And then this movie went down a couple of notches when Ash appears. Not because Ash is bad in the film. Far from it. He's actually super awesome. But this film just gave off such a serious vibe at the very beginning. And it just kind of disappears when Ash arrives. And this whole thing turns more into like a lighthearted adventure for like 20 minutes. Which, yeah, This is a Pokemon film, like what do you expect? Obviously, it's supposed to feel like a lighthearted adventure, but man, the beginning of this film was just so awesome that it made me fall in love with it. I wish the whole film was like this. Ash and the gang set out to go to this palace, but it's raining. Oh my god, how are they gonna cross this ocean to get to the palace? This is when Team Rocket appears, dressed up as Vikings, offering to take Ash and company across.
I didn't know Vikings still existed.
They mostly live in Minnesota.
The rest of the film involves Mewtwo revealing himself, enacting his plan, Ash trying to put a stop to it. And oh my god, I did not expect some of these scenes to be as cool as they were. Like, look at this, bro. Ash looks actually so badass here. The ending of this film also really surprised me. In trying to stop this battle between Mew and Mewtwo, which Ash actually ends up doing, he makes Mewtwo see the error in his ways, and Ash dies. And it's like really sad. And all the Pokemon around stop fighting one another and just watch this Pikachu crying, desperately, trying to wake up his Pokemon trainer. No, I still have 24 movies left. What do you mean Ash died? And then all the Pokemon cry and all their tears bring Ash back to life. That is so unrealistic. This movie gets a 5 out of 5. I really like it. This is Lawrence III, not to confuse him with Lawrence I and II, which are characters we don't even see in this film, so I don't even know why I brought that up. He is on a mission to capture Moltres, Zapdos, and Articuno, because in doing so, this mysterious legendary Pokemon is going to appear. It's Lugia. It's Lugia. I watched this movie dubbed, and honestly, I think the translation for this film was really bad because I don't really understand Ash's role in this whole film. I don't know, I felt like his plotline was really confusing. Ash, Misty, and where is Brock? Why isn't Brock here? I don't like that he's not here. He's genuinely the best character in this entire Pokemon franchise. Bring back Brock. I want Brock. This new trio lands on this island where the people there are in the process of choosing their chosen one. Apparently, this is some kind of tradition that they have. Ash starts being flirted with by the locals, which makes Misty really jealous, which honestly, by the way, in the grand scheme of the story, this is really irrelevant. I wanted to bring it up. This movie keeps bringing up these silly romantic plot lines, constantly setting up this will they, won't they vibe between Ash and Misty, which I obviously thought was really funny. Weirdly enough though, this also kind of confirms that James is gay.
When you get involved with the opposite sex, you're only asking for trouble.
Yes, and that's the kind of trouble I stay out of.
We also get some scenes where Professor Oak visits Ash's mom, and honestly, these scenes have no real purpose to them whatsoever. But hey, I don't think these were added by accident. No, I think the film is secretly trying to show us that when Ash is away, Professor Oak brings the Diglets out to play. I'm really sorry for saying that. Anyway, because Lawrence III is messing with these legendaries, he's creating an imbalance in the world, which is leading to the destruction of the entire planet. Okay, now get this. The 3 legendary birds, they started fighting one another, and they're destroying everything in their path, which sucks. Lugia, their next door neighbor, appears to stop the fight. And you know what these freaking birds do? They put aside their differences and then beat up Lugia. And after Lugia becomes defeated, they go back to fighting. If I was Lugia, I'd be so pissed. Also, the chosen one, aka Ash, she has to set off to these 3 islands where the legendary birds come from and steal these 3 balls. And then he has to go to this temple guarded by a talking Slowking. Yeah, you heard me right. This guy talks, and he is genuinely my favorite part of this entire film.
Oh, what a mess.
And then Ash needs to put the 3 balls on the pedestal. Funnily enough, Ash doesn't even really want to do this, but he genuinely is the only one in the entire Pokemon universe that can, because there's a prophecy that states when the world goes in danger, the earth will turn to ash. Yeah, Ash is the chosen one because his name is Ash. With the help of Team Rocket and Lugia, Ash manages to collect all 3 of the balls and places them on the pedestal. And then the 3 birds are like, damn, you know what? Maybe you guys aren't that bad. See ya. And then the movie ends. 2 out of 5. Okay, I have great memories of watching this film as a child. Why don't I remember how sick and twisted this film is? This is Molly. And after her father gets abducted by the unknowns, she's sad. Oh no. She stumbles upon her father's research material about the unknowns and proceeds to say one of the dumbest things I have ever heard.
I can spell our names with the unknown.
Look, I get that she is a little girl, but there's no way she said that and then wrote the words Mama, Papa, and me. This is so stupid. Molly accidentally summons the unknowns and then proceeds to accidentally summon the legendary Pokemon Entei. Now, it's assumed in this movie that Entei is her father, but we don't really get confirmation of this.
I am Entei.
Papa, it's you!
She instantly just starts calling the Entei her papa, resulting in the Entei being like, oh yeah, sure, I mean, I got time. Yeah, I could be your dad for a little bit. While all this Pokemon shenanigans stuff is happening at her house, the nearby town is getting absolutely wrecked. Now, you might be wondering, because how does Ash, Misty, and Brock, yes, Brock is back, and I'm so happy about it. How did these three characters play a role in all of this? Well, Molly tells Entei that she wants a mom, so Entei strolls over to Ash's mom, and then hypnotizes Ash's mom, and then kidnaps Ash's mom to play the role of Molly's mom. This is really a thing that happens in this movie. Molly and Entei have to be one of the scariest threats we have seen in the Pokemon franchise so far.
Look, Mama, they're showing our house on television.
This little girl is dangerous. She is way too little to understand what her actions are doing to the rest of the world.
Go away! Leave us alone!
Dude, I don't know why Entei is so loyal to Molly. My theory is that he secretly just wants to hook up with Ash's mom. Ash and the gang head on over to Molly to get Ash's mom back, and then they have some cool Pokemon battles, and then Ash gets thrown out a window.
Oh my! No! 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 That's so cool! What?
Saved our lives. Thank you.
What? That was the coolest thing we have seen today! Kill Molly, dude. Kill her.
My friend Charizard.
Dude, this film is so crazy. I honestly think it's the best one we have watched so far. Entei is about to kill Charizard when the gang somehow managed to talk some sense into Molly. Molly realizes that, well, maybe this isn't what she should be doing. And then everything is good, except everything is not good because the Unknown's powers are becoming unstable, so the team has to work together to stop them, and then the film ends. Molly, in the end credit scene, gets reunited with her dad and her mom for whatever reason. Where the hell is this? Am I missing something? Where the hell was this lady the whole time? Also, if you're wondering where Team Rocket was in this movie, they were there, but they served genuinely zero purpose in this entire film.
Do you think we're gonna get a bigger part in the next movie?
This movie revolves around Celebi, which I was pretty excited about because Celebi can time travel, and I just thought that would make for a really interesting story. And it kind of was.
Then you're gonna love what you see in there.
I love what I see here.
The story starts off with this chase sequence. A really bad Pokemon trainer is trying to hurt and capture Celebi. This young boy named Sam catches sight of this and helps the wounded Celebi out, which causes him and Celebi to accidentally be sent 40 years into the future. This is when Sam meets Ash, and with his help, they manage to heal Celebi in the Lake of Life. This is really good. This is a good thing that happens. And then another Pokemon trainer comes who wants to hurt and capture Celebi. This is really bad. This is a really bad thing that happens. The bad Pokemon trainer manages to capture Celebi with the usage of these dark balls. Don't get them confused with the regular balls. The dark balls turn Pokemon evil. At least that's what the film says that they do. From what I can tell though, they just make them trip balls. Like, look at Celebi's pupils. This dude is high on life right now. This is when the movie starts showing one of the craziest usages of CGI yet. Celebi is this giant bush monster and is terrorizing the entire forest. And through the power of friendship, they manage to snap Celebi out of the trainer's control. But oh no, Celebi is dying. So they take it over to the Lake of Healing, but oh no, it doesn't work because the water is dirty. And then that's when the other legendary Pokemon in the film, Suicune, starts serving an actual purpose. Suicune is able to filter the water and make it clean. Let me get this straight. In the last film, Entei was phasing through walls, hypnotizing people, and creating dream realms. And in this film, Suicune is a Brita filter. I mean, I guess that's pretty cool. Celebi also gets assisted by a whole army of Celebis from different points in time. At least that's where I'm assuming they came from. And now everything is good. And Celebi and Sam return to their timeline. So, yeah. I really wonder who that Sam guy was. Oh, it was Professor Oak. Oh, that's pretty cool. This movie is a 3 out of 5. Latios and Latias. Two legendary Pokemon I just really do not care about. And man, their movie sucks. Which is a shame, because this movie starts off in such a cool way, with Ash competing in this water race with Totodile. This whole opening scene as they're racing through this Venice-like city was so much fun, and it had me really hooked. And then the film becomes like really dull and boring. There's these two evil Team Rocket members that are after Latios and Latias, and Ash accidentally befriends Latias, and then oh no, Latios is captured, and then oh no, there's a tsunami, and then the legendary Pokemon stop the tsunami, and that's it. And then at the end of the film, Latias kisses Ash and Brock gets jealous. 1 out of 5. Oh, hi. It seems like we finished our first batch of 5 movies. Time to go to the whiteboard and talk about them. Pokemon, the first movie. Pokemon the movie 2000, Pokemon Entei, Pokemon Forever, and Pokemon Latios. Honestly, not the most consistent era, but we do have some pretty high highs. 2 movies with perfect scores. It's kind of insane. Good job. Oh my God. Now, I think it'd be a little boring to just call this era Era 1, so I came up with a really crazy name for it. Okay, we're gonna call it the Beginning Era, because it's the beginning of when they started making movies. I promise that the names will become a lot more original as this video progresses. Just looking at this batch of 5 films, I gotta say, the Pokemon Company, for not really making movies before this, they did a pretty good job. I think one of the things that I really like about this era is that the Pokemon movies didn't really have an exact identity yet. So they were allowing themselves to be a lot more creative, just trying to figure out their style. None of these movies feel like the other film. These 2 5-star films are 5 stars for a completely different reason. I love the philosophical and thought-provoking approach that they went with when it came to this whole Mewtwo film, and I love the dark and twisted nature of a little girl feeling alone, filling the void with an Entei. Also, I just think some of the ideas that they threw in this is actually crazy, and I just love the creativity on display. I also really like how Team Rocket was implemented in these first couple of films, and then they slowly start becoming irrelevant, which wasn't really that cool. Overall, I'm pretty satisfied with this era. We have 2 amazing movies, 2 okay movies, and 1 pretty good time. Overall, this era is a 3.2 out of 5. Not bad. I was really excited to check this one out because Jirachi seems like a really cool legendary Pokemon that could have a really fun movie revolve around them. And what we got was a pretty enjoyable time. Every 1,000 years, the Millennium Comet appears. And with that, Jirachi awakens from this rock for about a week until it goes back to sleep for another 1,000 years. Jirachi is the wish Pokemon and is said to grant people's wishes. I'm gonna tell you right now, Jirachi is a fraud. This dude does not make wishes come true. There's one point in the movie where Ash and the gang wish for a candy to appear.
I wish for lots of candy.
And Jirachi, deadass, just steals this entire store's inventory of candy, teleporting all of the items over to Ash. This is illegal. This is not right. This is bad. Jirachi, if you're watching this video, I would like $1 million and a yacht and the statue of Mewtwo that is in the Japan Pokemon Center. I want this.
I wish for lots of girls!
Despite Jirachi being kind of a nuisance, I really liked their inclusion. I thought they were a very fun addition to the story. There's one point in the movie where May tells Jirachi to make the problem disappear, referring to the stolen candy, obviously. And Jirachi just makes May disappear instead. That's freaking hilarious. That was awesome. I should probably talk about the general premise of the film, but honestly, I didn't really find it all too exciting. There's this guy that's working for Team Rocket who is planning on stealing Jirachi to summon an altered version of the legendary Pokemon Groudon. I don't really know how this works. I didn't know you could actually do that. Apparently, it's a thing because it happens. But then in an altercation with this fake Groudon, his wife gets captured by it, and that makes him realize maybe he shouldn't have done this. Ash and the gang manage to defeat the fake Groudon, and then Jirachi at the end of the movie turns back into a rock. So yeah, that's the movie. I'll give it a 3 out of 5. Okay. Now let's get this party started. Deoxys and Rayquaza in a movie? Come on, that has to be absolute cinema. And it's not. This is the longest movie we have watched so far, and it really does not need to be. This movie starts off with Deoxys crash landing onto Earth, which instantly alerts Rayquaza. This dude starts zooming over and instantly starts beefing with the dude. Hey man, can we talk about this? Blah, 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 die, 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 blah, blah, blah. I actually love this fight. This fight is so cool. What an amazing introduction to this story. And then you cut to 4 years later, where Ash, Pikachu, and the rest of the gang arrive in this futuristic city with the goal of battling in the battle tower. This subplot quickly becomes irrelevant. The only reason this is actually here in the movie is so Ash can meet this kid who is scared of Pokemon. I hate this kid. Look, I understand what this movie was going for with having this character here. He was gonna spend time with Ash and then slowly slowly the kid was going to start opening up to being around Pokemon. I get it. Like, I get what they were going for. It's not a bad story to tell, but oh my god, this kid is just so annoying. And every single scene where he opens up about him being scared of Pokemon to Ash, Ash is deadass like, dude, just get over it. This kid has been traumatized, and Ash is just honestly not helpful whatsoever.
I guess it's because I've always been so afraid of Pokemon. But that's all in the past, right?
Are we stupid?
Later on in the film, Deoxys comes back, so Rayquaza starts flying over for round 2. Except now, there is 2 Deoxys. And this battle is decent. I say, just because it kind of ends weirdly, Deoxys and Rayquaza realize that this whole thing was just a big misunderstanding, and then they leave. And that's it. My favorite part of the movie was when this Munchlax evolved into a Snorlax. That was funny. Overall, 2 out of 5. Okay, the movie just ended. I have a lot of problems with it. I don't really like this one. So I have a Letterboxd account. This is pretty much a social media app where people who like movies review movies online. I've had this account for years. I wanted to see and get a secondhand opinion on this film because this one was just the one that I just genuinely didn't like. I want to see what the Pokemon community has to say about this one. Now, a lot of people are giving it high scores because maybe nostalgia. I'm assuming people are saying that Deoxys is really cool, which fair enough. He is cool. This dude named Joseph, he watched this film in 2019. He says that this story reflects and serves as a robust analogy for US foreign policy in the Middle East. Deoxys, a space Pokemon, is a metaphor for Islamic extremism as he blows shit up for stupid reasons and hates Jews. What the hell? I thought this was insane when I first read this. The fact that this Pokemon film serves as a metaphor for U.S. foreign policy in the Middle East. The thing is, though, there's a lot more reviews that are saying this. There's an entire subplot here about a child being irredeemably damaged by such flagrant shows of explosive aggression. Another about how one nation is attempting to manufacture the other side's weaponry for no other reason than just to have it. The movie smartly structures itself as everyone on one side. Deoxys and Rayquaza are on one side. The issue isn't what they're fighting over, but that they're fighting at all. A war against war itself. There's also a lot about the dangers of a digital world. Yeah, this is just interesting that people are like thinking this stuff. People online are very deep and passionate about this movie. And then you got this one that says no rating because no shuckle. I think this is the one I relate to the most, not gonna lie. Okay, what is next? Lucario and the Mystery of Mew? Are we serious? That sounds sick.
Aura is with me.
This movie has so much aura. This film starts off in such an amazing way, showing us the early days of the Pokemon world before Ash, before Professor Oak. Heck, it's even before the Pokeball was invented. This ancient medieval setting was just so fascinating to see, and it does a really great job in establishing how humans and Pokemons coexisted back then. This is Lucario, and this is his master, Sir Aaron. Sir Aaron puts Lucario in a stick. And then he kind of like dies. Okay, now flash forward to present day. Ash and the gang are now at some kind of Sir Aaron celebration event.
There's no need to be nervous, Brock. Just put your arm around me.
Oh, thank you.
Ash ends up winning a Pokemon tournament, and he ends up winning the stick, which results in Lucario being released from the stick, which in turn causes him to have this Captain America moment of realizing that everything around him has changed because now he's in the future. Lucario is so frustrated because he believes that his master, Sir Aaron, has betrayed him. I gotta say, I really like Lucario in this film, and honestly, I've always wondered why Lucario was such a popular Pokemon. I mean, the guy is in Smash. That's kind of crazy, isn't it? I really feel like this movie has a big part to play in that because seriously, walking away from this film, even I'm a huge Lucario fan now. Dude, I think he's so awesome. The general premise for this film is Mew abducts Pikachu and Meowth, but more importantly, Pikachu, causing Ash and the rest of the homies to rely on Lucario's aura tracking ability to find Pikachu. What follows is a kind of fun road trip movie full of adventure and great character development and conflict. And then the film ends with Lucario realizing that his master wasn't actually a bad guy. So that was cool.
Lucario isn't gone. Its aura is with me. Rika.
Overall, I really like this film. I'm gonna give it a 3.5 out of 5. Pokemon Ranger, more like Pokemon Lamer. Just kidding. Pokemon Rangers are actually really cool, but wow, this movie kind of blows. Okay, so the opening scene is fantastic. It feels like the beginning of a spy film with an undercover ranger grabbing the MacGuffin of the film and successfully escaping from enemy territory. But then the movie is kind of a snooze fest, and I'm gonna be honest, it really doesn't help that the main legendary of this movie is this guy. Who even cares about this guy? Not me, that's for sure. This film just felt like a downgraded version of the Lucario film, because this movie also involves our main characters spending the whole movie getting from one location to the next location. And I just did not feel satisfied when they got there. At the end of the movie, Ash floats in a piss stream, and I did think that was pretty cool. I'm gonna give this 1.5 stars out of 5. What? This is awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, the legendary Pokemon in charge of space and time have started to clash. Dialga and Palkia, these two opposing forces, are having the battle of the century. Who's gonna lose? Who's gonna win? I don't know. Oh my god, no, Palkia, no. Cut to Ash and the gang in this new city where apparently the legendary Pokemon named Darkrai lives at. Darkrai has made Ash fall asleep and infects his mind with nightmares of Palkia attacking him. And then a wounded Palkia arrives in town to hide from Dialga. Darkrai says out loud, "Go away." Huh? And all the townspeople are like, I don't really like this Darkrai guy. Like, what? Why did he say that? And then Dialga shows up and continues the battle with Palkia. And that's when everyone was like, oh, he wasn't telling us to go away. He was telling Palkia to go away. Darkrai, you're such a silly guy. Why didn't you say that in the first place? Palkia and Dialga clashing is a big deal because it has the potential of causing the entire dimension to be deleted, which is actually insane that something like this could actually happen. So Darkrai jumps into the middle of the battle trying to put a stop to it, but then ends up dying. Oh no! Ash climbs to the top of this tower called the Space-Time Tower and starts playing his mixtape. This actually calms Dialga and Palkia down so that they stop fighting. This is when Ash starts yelling at the legendary Pokemon Palkia to fix the town.
You bring this town back to the way it was!
You've gotta do it! Palkia, please!
And for some reason, Palkia, this literal god amongst men, listens to Ash and does it. And now the town is back to normal and everything is good, except Darkrai is gone and everyone is sad. Except he's not gone. We get like this 20-second scene of him just aura farming on top of a tower, and it is the stupidest thing ever, and I freaking love it.
No, you're gonna be the greatest there ever was. Me? No, dude, I really think it's you. Okay, how could you even say that? Dude, you got the fit and everything. Bro, you have the fit. You are literally him. I'm him? You are, bro. You are. Dude, I didn't know you thought like that. Yeah, I really do. Bro. Oh, hi guys. Did we already finish another 5 movies? Okay, let's get to the whiteboard.
Jirachi the Wishmaker, Destiny Deoxys, Lucario and the Mystery of Mew, Pokemon Ranger and the Temple of the Sea, The Rise of Darkrai. This next era of Pokemon films visually looks like it should cook. I will say, we didn't really get the highs that we did in the first era. I was racking my brain trying to come up with a name for this era, and honestly, the best one I could come up with was the Wasted Potential era. I mean, seriously, some of these movies just look like they're gonna cook crazy. And then they just kind of don't. Okay, I just did the calculations. This era, it got a 2.6. Pretty, like, that's like barely above average. This movie is very important to me. Pokédex number 492, Shaymin, the Gratitude Pokemon. Shaymin is a mythical grass-type Pokemon. While unable to evolve, is able to change its form from this adorable little land form. Oh my god, it's so cute. To this badass sky form. Oh my god, it's so cool. I am bringing all of this up because Shaymin is my favorite Pokemon of all time. And honestly, I can't really tell you why. But something about this film caused 9-year-old me to make that decision and stick with it for over 14 years. Don't get me wrong, I'm really proud to call myself a Shaymin fan, but oh my god, I am so nervous that if I watch this film, I'm gonna realize 9-year-old me was probably like the dumbest little boy ever. Regardless of that fact, I started the film very nervous for what I was going to think. And well, dude, for Shaymin being the Gratitude Pokemon, he is a little asshole.
Give me food.
Give me a break, Greenback. I ain't got any grub.
This dude is so obnoxious to the point where I kind of found it very humorous. He's just so smug and arrogant. I got really curious, so I searched up a Reddit post to see what other people thought about him. Thoughts on Shaymin from the 11th movie. Annoying as shit. A brat. Unlikable. Annoying as heck. Annoying and useless. Little shit. Yeah, it seems like people hate him. I still like him though. This film is really cool. It opens up with Dialga and Giratina battling, and then Shaymin accidentally gets caught up in the middle of it all. Shaymin's interference causes Dialga to escape, enraging Giratina and causing him to target Shaymin for practically the entire film. I really like Shaymin because when he's in his land form, he is horrified of Giratina. But then he turns into the sky form and he is ready to take that guy down.
Giratina, I'm challenging you! You go, Shaman!
And then he'd end up switching back and being like, Ash, please protect me. I can't do this.
What happened to all your strength? I'm not so good at night.
I don't really think the movie is as good as I remember it being as a little kid, but at least my opinion has not changed.
Here is where I say goodbye. Yeah, we know.
Shaman, though he is pretty annoying, I do really like him. He's so adorable. I'll give this movie a 3 out of 5. Have you heard of our Lord and Savior, Arceus, the creator of all things, the reason why we are here today? He wants to kill us! Arceus is the god of the Pokemon universe, and this movie, it's pretty good in its setup and execution. Arceus is another one of those Pokemon who has been betrayed by man. Long ago, there was this guy named Deoxys who betrayed Arceus, attacking him when he was his most vulnerable, causing Arceus to be forced into a very long slumber. Cut to present day, and due to Palkia and Dialga clashing, this causes a distortion that awakens Arceus. Instantly, this dude is like, all right, I'm back. Time to kill every human there is. Oh no, I'm a human. If only there was some legendary Pokemon that could appear to help us in stopping Arceus. Oh my god, Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina arrive to stop Arceus. But they're kind of struggling. They're not going to be able to win this battle. So Dialga, the Pokemon in charge of time, sends Ash back in time to the day that Deoxys betrayed Arceus with the hopes of changing the events in the past to rewrite the present. Isn't that so freaking cool? Oh my god, what an awesome premise. Where did this even come from? This movie is so fun and has so many cool plot twists sprinkled throughout. Ash and the gang manage to fix the past, but then they arrive back in the present and nothing has changed.
Oh no. Oh no. Arceus is gonna kill everyone. Arceus is gonna kill me. What am I gonna do?
But then Arceus looks at Ash Ketchum and is like, dude, is that you, bro? Bro, I remember you from like 100 years ago, bro. How you been? And then Ash is like, yeah, dude. Yeah, it's me, haha. I'm just trying my best, trying to be the best that no one ever was, you know, haha, haha. And then Arceus is like, haha, yeah, type shit, bruh. Haha, yeah, cool. I'm not gonna kill you guys anymore. And then the movie ends. And that one was pretty cool. I'll give this one a 3.5. This movie is about blackmailing. Yeah, there's this guy that 20 years ago absorbed one of Celebi's time ripples, granting him the power to see a glimpse of the future. Now, obviously, this man used this to his advantage, because why wouldn't he? He became super successful, like very, very successful. Now, cut to present day, and his powers are starting to fade, so he comes up with a plan. He goes and kidnaps these two Pokemon, a Zorua and a Zorark. These Pokemon have the ability of turning into not only a man, but also into other Pokemon. Next, he threatens the life of the Zorua to the Zorark to make it turn into the 3 legendary dogs to wreak havoc in the city, causing an evacuation. When the town is now cleared out, he searches for the next Celebi time ripple to regain his ability. This is what's supposed to happen, and honestly, it's a pretty good plan. So, good job, dude. But it doesn't happen this way because Ash and the rest of the Pokemon gang come in and put a stop to it. Honestly, it's a pretty decent film. It didn't really stand out too much in my eyes, but I think it was quite a solid experience. I'm gonna give this one 3 stars. This movie makes me want to die. Not because it's bad, but because I had to watch it twice. Oh, why, Teniz? Why would you ever even have to do that? Because there is 2 versions of this film with like 5% of the movie actually changed. Why did they do this? Pokemon the movie White, Victini and Zekrom is paired up alongside Pokemon the movie Black, Victini and Reshiram. Why did you do this? Some of the changes in these 2 movies are really stupid. Like one of them has this Pokemon and then the other one has the same Pokemon, but it's shiny. Bah! The biggest difference in the film is the main legendary Pokemon Ash encounters in the film, but the thing is both legendaries are a part of the 2 films anyway. So it's not even that cool because you end up seeing both legendaries in oh my god, I hate this film. These movies really make me mad, but it has a really interesting premise about a battle between 2 siblings causing this kingdom to fall, and then the king puts up a barrier and that gets placed around the castle, causing this Pokemon named Victini to get stuck in it, and then this dude wants to revert the effects of what the king and the son did in the past, but in doing so, that's going to destroy the world. And also there's some cool battles. And I also really like Victini. They're very adorable. And it's a solid film. Only watch one of these. Why is there 2 of them? God. Bah. You know what I could have done with that hour I wasted? Watch the Shaman movie again. Oh my god, I like that one. This movie makes me want to die. Not because it's bad, but because I had to watch it twice.
Why did she leave me? It's dumb when I think about it. We were having some fun, you know, training. And she asked me what I wanted right now, and I said, I wanted a Pikachu. And she got frustrated. She said, am I not enough for you? I said, what? She said, am I not enough for you? And then she left. I was saying like Pikachu like it's a joke, like take a peek at you. You try to be the funny guy, right? You try to be the funny guy, and then you end up alone. No. Anyway, let's talk about those 5 movies.
Giratina and the Sky Warrior, Arceus and the Jewel of Life, Pokemon Zorark, Master of Illusions, Pokemon the movie White, Victini and Zekrom, Pokemon the movie Black, Victini and Reshiram. Honestly, this batch of movies is heavily let down by this atrocity that they did over here. And yes, I'm gonna keep crashing out about this because I'm never gonna be able to get this time back unless the legendary Pokemon Celebi appears. Oh wow, that was very unexpected. Hi Celebi, what's going on?
Hey, it's me, Celebi, and I just want to make sure everybody at home hits the subscribe button.
Wow, wasn't that crazy? Looking at this batch of movies, there's only one thing I could really call this era, though we know you'll watch these eras because let's be honest, they can only really pull off this atrocity if they knew that we were gonna watch these films regardless. This batch of movies obviously had my favorite Pokemon of all time in one of these films, and though it got a 3 out of 5 stars, still a pretty good time. The whole concept with this Arceus and the Jewel of Life film is still mind-blowing. I still think it is probably the coolest concept we have had in any one of the Pokemon films so far. I don't really care about this movie. Honestly, I've kind of already forgotten about it. What the heck? You might be wondering why this one is a 2.5 and this one is a 2. And that's because back in the day when I was playing through these Pokemon games, I had Pokemon Black, and Reshiram was a legendary I chose, so I just think Reshiram is cooler. That's why this one has 0.5 more. This era of films gets a 2.8. Is that good? So these 4 legendaries are legendaries that as an 11-year-old, I found a really hard time caring about. I mean, at this point, a Pokemon game was coming out every year, and with that, a whole new slew of legendaries. And as a child, even I was like just kind of losing interest on these. If they're so legendary, why is there so many of them? Anyway, slight rant aside, this movie makes me really like these legendaries, which kind of makes my first statement a little bit irrelevant. This is Keldeo, and he is training to join this exclusive Pokemon club called the Swords of Justice. They're a group. I say they're a group, but it's dead ass like 3 of them. They're Pokemon that travel around the world to help people and Pokemon. That's pretty cool. Keldeo has been training to join the group, and his final challenge to actually join the group is to fight and beat Kyurem. But the Swords of Justice, they don't really think he's that good yet. So they're like, dude, don't do it. And then Keldeo is like, I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm gonna fight Kyurem, and I'm gonna prove that I am worthy enough to become a Sword of Justice. This is when he messed up. Big time. Not only does he realize he's not strong enough to beat Kyurem, causing him to run away from the battle, but he also gets the Swords of Justice trapped there. So Keldeo spends the rest of the movie running away from Kyurem till he eventually works up the courage to go back and fight him to free the Swords of Justice and become a Sword of Justice himself. I really like this film. I thought it was super simple, and the premise was just executed very nicely. It's also pretty short, which is a good thing. The film didn't really overstay its welcome. I was quite satisfied. And that ending fight scene against Kyurem, honestly, that is sick. That is so cool. This is awesome. I'm gonna give this movie 3.5 stars.
Hey gamers, remember that totally spectacular movie about the Pokemon that was created by humans who wants to take over the world? Well, this next movie we are about to watch is about a Pokemon created by humans who want to take over the world. Oh, yeah, it's like the same movie.
Okay, even though the premise seems very similar, this movie is not a copy and paste at all. If anything, it kind of gives off sequel vibes. Am I crazy for saying that? Genesect isn't the only legendary Pokemon in this film because Mewtwo is here. And oh my god, I love that Mewtwo is in this film. Mewtwo is so cool.
Oh my god, is that Mewtwo? My goat! No, this one might be peak.
Okay, now we're in the X and Y generation, so you know what that means. Mega Evolution. Mega Evolution is this really cool thing where the Pokemon gets to evolve temporarily into like a cooler form. Okay, you understand. Let's move on. Scenes that include Mewtwo already are so cool. He's just that guy. But now, whenever he mega evolves, oh my god, they just become so much cooler. Also, something I really like, Mewtwo is a big part of the ending of this film, but we'll get into that. Firstly, Genesect. This is a legendary Pokemon that wants to take over, but there is one Genesect that's like, oh no man, I don't really want to do this.
I just want to go home. But the one Genesect can't really stop the other Genesect because he is one Genesect, so this is tough for him and he has to just obey them. So who's gonna be the one to stop the Genesect uprising? Mewtwo. Towards the end of the film, there's this really awesome scene where Mewtwo drags the leader of the Genesects up into space, and they have this really beautiful moment where they're staring at Earth, and Mewtwo shows Genesect all there is to appreciate about this world. It's so unexpected to have a scene like this in a Pokemon movie, but oh my god, it was beautiful. It's such a nice moment, and obviously I didn't really expect it here, and out of all the characters in the world that could have given this message to the Genesect, I think it was great to bring back Mewtwo and have them be the one to do it. This movie is great. 4 out of 5. This film is nice. That's all I have to say. Diancie lives in this underground kingdom and it's powered by this heart diamond, but the heart diamond is running out of juice. Oh no, no. This is like when you're playing Fortnite on your Xbox and then your controller dies. This is a really big issue, guys. Diancie is the only one that has the power to make the new heart diamond, but there's one problem. She doesn't really know how to do it. So she goes on an adventure to find the legendary Pokemon Xerneas. This is the Pokemon of life, who apparently can teach her how to make it. And then she goes on her journey and she runs into Ash and company who want to accompany her. And then she also runs into bad people who want to steal her and use her diamond creating abilities for their own good. Also, they run into Yveltal. This is the Pokemon of destruction, and Pikachu dies. No, no, no. And he's alive again. And Diancie learns how to make a diamond. And aw, that's so cool. Next movie, 2.5 stars. This film has a whole lot of... This one is a pretty wild ride with an ending section on the level of Avengers Endgame. Back in the day, there's this all-powerful legendary Pokemon named Hoopa who was running havoc, and this guy was like, I'm gonna put you in a bottle.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And then this is what Hoopa looks like now. He is still himself, but without the full range of his abilities that he once had. The thing that is inside of the bottle is a really angry and shadowy version of Hoopa, who possesses people to open the bottle. As a result, the Shadow Hoopa has now been released, and it possesses our main Hoopa guy, and then our main Hoopa guy gets him out of him, and then he possesses him again, and then the shadow gets rejected again, and then the shadow becomes like its own Pokemon. And I don't really know how this works, but just go with this. Now there's 2 Hoopas, and this is when Hoopa versus Hoopa begins, and then they start summoning legendary Pokemon to duke it out. And this is genuinely one of the coolest ending sequences to any of these films ever. Oh my god. Like, dude, they just kept coming in. Anyway, then Hoopa makes the shadow good by thinking about happy memories, and then the movie ends. And I thought this movie was cool. I'll give it a 3-star. Okay, this film is honestly pretty sweet. This whole film revolves around this legendary Pokemon named Volcanion, who is a Pokemon I didn't really even know existed, trying to help out this other legendary Pokemon named Magearna? I think that was their name. Pretty much Magearna is being targeted by people, and so Volcanion is like, I'm not gonna let them find you. Due to some events that happened earlier on in the film, Ash and Volcanion have these magnetic bands that are attached around them that makes it so they're constantly needing to stay near one another. It was honestly really random to just have this in the film, but it works really well in developing Volcanion as a character because this dude hates humans. This movie is quite predictable in the sense that Volcanion, as he spends time with Ash, starts appreciating humans, and Magearna gets kidnapped, and then evil people use him for their plans, but then as the movie ends, the good guys manage to defeat the bad guys, and yeah, it was cool. I'm happy I watched it. 3 stars.
You won't believe it. It's been days, weeks, since I have left this room. I've been so bored. I haven't ate anything. I haven't drank anything. I've just been trying to find something to do to pass the time. Check it out. I made a painting of a bunch of Bulbasaur in a forest. What do you think? I really want to leave my room and see the outside world again, but my path out is blocked. There's a freaking Snorlax in the way. Well, anyway, enough about me. You guys made it through another 5 movies. Let's go to the whiteboard.
Kyurem versus the Sword of Justice. Genesect and the Legend Awakened. Diancie and the Cocoon of Destruction. Hoopa and the Clash of Ages. Volcanion and the Mechanical Marvel. Honestly,
They're getting pretty good, pretty consistent. I feel like they're just having a lot more fun in this era. That might honestly be what I call this era, the fun era. In some of the earlier eras, I felt like there was a little bit of, they were being creative, but I also felt like there was a part of them that was playing it a little safe. They would have these wacky concepts, but it would always feel a little grounded. Whereas with this one, they just kind of go all balls to the wall. I mean, the action sequence in this Genesect film alone is just incredible. Also, the Hoopa film ending with all the legendaries showing up, that is just insane. Pikachu dies. Pikachu dies. Pikachu dies. Like, that was... what? Now, I will say though, none of these is 5 stars. I still don't think any of these films have reached the level of that Mewtwo film and the Entei film. Pretty satisfied with these films. There was a part of me that was thinking that as these movies progressed, they were slowly gonna go downhill. Not to throw shade at the Pokemon games, but I remember those games that I played when I was younger, and they were pretty fire. Now, the games that are coming out when I'm older, they're not as fire. They're just not that cool. And I was scared that the Pokemon movies were kind of gonna follow the similar format, but thankfully they're not. We got a 3.2, pretty good. This film is actually kind of interesting because it doesn't follow the same pattern of revolving around a legendary Pokemon during one of Ash's adventures in the anime. Rather, this is kind of a retelling or an alternate version of the beginning of Ash's journey. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the story of how Ash met Pikachu, how his journey began, how he saved that Charmander that was about to die, and how his Caterpie turned into a Butterfree and then he had to say goodbye to it, and many other moments in the original Pokemon anime series. I thought this whole film was going to be a complete retelling of the first season, which, okay, I mean, sure, let's go with it. But then the story does something really different and interesting because a Pokemon named Marshadow appears, who isn't a part of the first generation. Marshadow is starting to turn the nearby Pokemon evil, causing them to fight Ash and his friends. And this results in some pretty mature scenes being shown, one of which is Ash dying. Which, yeah, I mean, Ash has died before, but still, it's really shocking to see it every time it happens. Pikachu manages to defeat Marshadow, and for some reason, Ash comes back to life. And then they get a chance to fight Ho-Oh. And what happens in this fight, I don't really know. It was never really clear to us because the movie just kind of cuts to a scene later on in his adventure where Ash is leaving. And that's the movie. Honestly, there's a lot more moments in this movie that's really good. There's a moment where Ash and Pikachu get into a fight and Ash is like, I don't even need you, Pikachu.
Who needs Pikachu anyway?
Which is like, what? Ash wouldn't say that. And then also there's a storyline about a Luxray dying. What? What? This is so sad. This movie is actually, wow, the more I think about it, it's kind of cool. 4 out of 5. Okay, following the trend that the last movie set up, this film also practically has nothing to do with the current run of the anime. This film is a complete standalone side story. At times, it felt like the focus was a little all over the place, and I don't really know if I liked it that much. There is a lot of characters introduced in this one with a lot of things going on, which, yeah, you can make the argument that it's a good thing because complexity is really interesting. But I think the standpoint of less is more really would have just done wonders for this movie. Okay, so we have some legendary Pokemon in this film. First of all, Lugia is back, and I think he's handled a lot better in this film than in some of the others. He serves the role of more of a guardian deity of the land, rather than some dude who's just chilling at the bottom of the ocean. Also, a Pokemon named Zorark. I don't know. I genuinely had no idea that this Pokemon was even a thing before this film. When he pulled up, I was like, huh? We have an electric monkey? Okay, yeah, let's go with it. I think there is some great moments in this film, but overall, I don't know. I wasn't really too engaged, and I don't really feel like talking about this one. I'm really sorry. If this is your favorite Pokemon film, I probably just bashed it. I just wasn't too into it. I'll give it 2 stars. This is a remake of the original film, which you guys already know how I feel about watching the same movie twice. Honestly, this one, I don't really mind it. Firstly, because the Mewtwo movie is one of the best that the Pokemon film franchise has to offer. The animation is also just really different, and I kind of like it. Weirdly enough, they cut out a lot of scenes in this film to help with the pacing, most notably the first 20 minutes of the film, which just so happened to be my favorite section of the original film. This was all the stuff with Mewtwo as a child in his mind, and then there was also the whole divorce plot line with a professor. I don't know, I thought this stuff was really cool and it added a lot to the film, but now seeing the film constructed in a way without those scenes, you might think I would hate it, but I actually kind of liked the film even more, which is really weird. The film felt tighter and it felt more complete. The movie overall worked a lot more as a package than it did before. But also, my perspective on Mewtwo is probably a lot different than people who never even got the context for those scenes. So it's kind of hard to say. I really liked it, but also like, don't remake any of your other films because I don't really think they need remakes. Unless you do the Entei one, because the Entei one is really cool. This is the Pokemon Company's first attempt at making a live-action Pokemon film. This is also the only Pokemon film I ever watched in theaters when it was initially releasing. And I remember walking away from that movie-going experience, really liking it, and I liked it this time around too. Good job, Pokemon Company, on making a live-action Pokemon film. Are you gonna make another one? Okay, so this movie is Detective Pikachu, and the person who voices Pikachu is Ryan Reynolds, which I really like because I think Ryan Reynolds is a haha funny guy. I like this guy. This might be really weird to say, but this movie definitely feels like a movie, whereas some of the other stuff we've been checking out today has kind of just felt more like an extended episode of the anime. Okay, so this is Tim. He's our main character, and he's a guy who gave up on being a Pokemon trainer after his mom tragically passed away. He ends up meeting this Pikachu, who for some reason he can understand, and now the two of them are going on an adventure to uncover the mysteries of whether or not this dude named Harry actually died in a car accident. This movie obviously turns into something a lot crazier. There's evil people using the power of Mewtwo, trying to merge Pokemon and humans together because they think that's like the ultimate form of what life could be on this planet. I don't know, it's weird. There's a lot of really amazing moments in this film, like this underground Pokemon fight club thing. I just thought this looked so sick. And then also there's these Greninjas that I just think look so cool. Like, I just like how the Pokemon look in live action form. I didn't think it would work, but it works really nicely. I don't know, there's a lot that's really cool about this film. I really enjoy it. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have made it to the final Pokemon film. Did we end with a bang? Did we end up saving the best for last? Is this the greatest Pokemon film that has ever been created? No. It's not the greatest, but it's actually really good. This film is kind of a twist on the Tarzan story, which is a story I really like. Okay, so there's this tribe of, I'm assuming, grass-type Pokemon called Zarude, and they absolutely hate humans. One day, one of the Zarudes finds a little boy washed up on the side of a river, and he's just like, oh man, I don't have the heart to leave this guy alone. He's gonna die. So then he adopts him and takes care of him. That's really adorable. This causes him to get kicked out of the Zarude clan, which is obviously not ideal, but it's a sacrifice he's willing to make because he started to really care about this child. The child's name is Coco, and we find out that since he was raised by Pokemon, this kid believes he is a Pokemon. Do you see the Tarzan similarities here? Ash runs into Coco, who recently got injured, and brings him over to the Pokemon Center. And this is when Coco gets a complete culture shock because this is the first time he has ever seen or been inside of the human world. This obviously sparks the chain of events of Coco realizing, oh my god, he's actually a human, and he's getting mad at his dad for lying to him. And then he sets out to find his real parents, and so on and so forth. The film's overall plot is actually really well crafted. It has some pretty cool plot twists, and it does a really good job in just keeping the ball rolling the whole way through. I don't want to say too much because I genuinely just think this film slaps and you should watch it. There's so many cool moments, so many emotional twists throughout. And honestly, I'm just really impressed with this film overall. They did a really good job. 4 out of 5.
In a world full of Pokemon trainers, it's not easy to be the best there ever was. But one man is gonna rise above them all and do it. And that man is probably not me.
Pokemon, I Choose You, The Power of Us, Mewtwo Strikes Back, Detective Pikachu, Secrets of the Jungle. Honestly, I applaud Pokemon for doing this. They had a set formula and they were getting really good at making these Pokemon films. And then all of a sudden, they were like, you know what? I'm gonna do my own thing. And they kind of killed it. I mean, look at these scores. They're pretty good. Pokemon I Choose You. Very unexpected film. I didn't even know we were gonna get something like this. And instantly when it started, I was like, nah, this is not gonna be good. And then somehow it became great. The Power of Us, yeah, that one needed some work. You guys can let me know down below what you guys personally think of this film. I really think the animation with this film cooks heavily. I probably do prefer the original style more. This is their first attempt at a live action. I think they killed it. And then Tarzan. Pokemon Company really didn't need to do this, but they went full experimental. That's why we're calling this era the experimental era. Now that I'm kind of taking a step back and looking at this, I am realizing that this is pretty much just a remake of the beginning of the anime, and this is just a remake of the first film. This is just kind of doing what they already did well again.
which maybe should lose this era a couple of points, but honestly, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Overall, after tallying up the score, it's a 3.9. It's pretty good. Oh, hello, it's me again, Professor Teniz. Welcome to the award show where we talk about which era was the worst and which one is the best. Oh my God. Sorry. There was a fly Pokemon flying by my ear. Man, maybe that was a new species. After watching all of the films, here is the era that was the worst. Maybe it's no surprise to you that it's the wasted potential era because it's wasted potential. This era kind of blows. This era looks really good on paper, but the movies just don't really stack up as well as some of the others. In fourth place, we have the We Know You're Gonna Watch This era. Congrats. Would have been a little bit better if they didn't have that black and white movie. Oh my God, look at this. Wow, we have a tie for third and second place. That being the beginning era and the fun era. Gosh, these films are just so great. And then in first place, we have the experimental era, which is honestly kind of surprising. Wow, wow, really? Huh, what a crazy discovery we've made. Well, Pokemon viewers, it seems like even though the Pokemon games are getting worse, the movies, they might just be getting better. But then it also has been years since they've released like the last one, so I don't even really know if we're ever gonna get another Pokemon film. Anyway, thanks for watching. Subscribe and click to watch some of my other videos and bye.